Hi folks, John Rush here. My son Richard Rush is with me. Our good friend Walt McLean is behind the camera. We're going to do the review of the 2016, this is the Land Rover Sport HSE with the new V6 turbo diesel engine in it. We'll get right into it. So, Richard, first of all, what do you think of the vehicle?
Well, it's a Range Rover, Land Rover, I should say, making sure we're clear. It's that through and through. It's got a lot of great luxury features on it. Auto ride height, or auto access height, you want to say. It raises and lowers the vehicle. The infotainment system is beautiful. The interior features are plush and just absolutely fantastic. This new turbo diesel V6 worked really, really well, especially up here at our altitude. Overall, I don't know how else to say it other than the fact that it's a Range Rover through and through. Range Rover Sport, I'll make that sense, with the capability of having 7 passengers, not on this model, but on other models. It's a pretty hard buy to beat for those luxury car buyers.
Yeah, what he's actually saying is this particular car we drove does not have the optional third row seat, but you can get it. It's an occasional use. 2 extra passengers in the rear. That's exactly how Range Rover, Land Rover markets that. Richard was talking about the automatic suspension. It is automatic. It does adjust according to what you're doing, and it will actually even raise the vehicle 1.4 inches if it so senses that you need that. You can manually adjust an additional 2.6 inches of off-road capability. Really a functional off-road vehicle. In fact, one thing I want to show you real quick as we get into the walk around, this vent up here you'll see is actually the intake for the actual fresh air intake to the engine itself. So let me pop the hood and I'll explain how that works. Gives you up to almost 36 inches, 33.6 inches of actual water foraging with the vehicle. So as we pop the hood, we'll actually show you where the intake port is. See these little vents over here? Actually is weather-tight connection over here on the side of the hood. Actually directs that intake down through into the air box, back into the engine. And this V6, let me get right to it. 254 horsepower, 443 foot-pounds of torque. Our average driving this vehicle, fuel economy-wise, was 28 miles to the gallon. It's rated 22 to 29, and I'm confident if I was highway only, I could probably get into the 30s with this vehicle very easily. So that gives you, with the ratings that are actually on the vehicle, not what I drove, but the actual ratings on the vehicle, it gives you well over a 638 mile distance with the particular tank that's in the vehicle. So over 600 miles between fill-ups in this vehicle. Excellent. So let's shut the hood. We'll walk around and show you some other features. It does have some great lighting as far as the headlights go. They turn with the steering wheel, and they're an automatic high beam, which means they adjust to the oncoming cars depending upon what you need to do as far as the vision is concerned. So in other words, it won't blind the cars coming at you because they automatically dim according to the cars that are coming at you. Richard, you want to add anything to that?
Absolutely. As we just kind of come around the front end here, one of the things that we will comment on, and you'll actually notice that we mentioned at the beginning of the review, which is the auto ride height. Some of you will see, well, that's not a whole lot of clearance for those tires. That's because this is in kind of the entry and exit mode. So you're not really getting the clearance that you need. And like we mentioned, this is a Range Rover built by Land Rover. It has all of the capabilities that you will find in a Land Rover on the inside. We'll show you that here in just a little bit. As we come around to the back, again, you can just see the clearance, see the look. For those of you that are familiar with Range Rover, this is that through and through. It's just a beautiful looking machine, a beautiful looking SUV. In our opinion, really looks nice. Drives really well. We'll kind of comment again as we go through the driving portion what that actually sounds like. Hopefully we can show you that. And as you can kind of see the badging over here, I know it's hard to see from the sun glare. It does have the TD6, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, is actually new for 2016.
All new for 2016.
Is that turbo diesel?
Yeah, and by the way, that diesel engine Richard just commented on, it actually powers 90% of Land Rover's vehicles over in Europe. So we're trying to catch up here in the US. 90% of vehicles in Europe have that diesel engine. I'm a diesel lover. I love it. I think it's a great technology. And a lot of people driving this car, there's been some beta testing done. Most people don't even know this vehicle has a diesel engine in it when they go to drive it. It's quiet. It doesn't stink. It works really well. It's got a really sophisticated EGR system on it to reduce NOx. You can read all about that on Land Rover's website. When we get over to the side of it, I'll hop in and we'll actually do a different ride height on it so you can actually see the vehicle raise and lower, so you can actually see the ground clearance Richard was talking about a moment ago. But I tell you what, since we're on the back side here, let's show you another cool feature, and hopefully this works.
Gonna like it.
Oh, sorry, let me lock it because it's not
So
locked.
it has an easy access, hands-free, as Range Rover, Land Rover calls it, access to the trunk, to the lift gate. Take this out. There it goes. So as you can see, a little bit finicky. I'm sure as you get more used to the car, it would be easier to do, but something that is a cool feature in our opinion, because not a lot of cars actually have the hands-free, easy access tailgate. So here we are, kind of the lift gate portion of it, and I guess I'll just jump right in. Here's the privacy screen, really well built in. We think Land Rover, Range Rover has done a fantastic job at this. So if you want this closed, you can. If you're not, you just pull it back up, let it go back, and you can remove the privacy screen if you do want to. As you'll notice here in the back area, in the trunk space, you're getting about 25 cubic feet of cargo room with these with that second row seats up. If you fold that down, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you get up to about 64 cubic feet, roughly right in that area. Don't quote me on that, I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me. Again, as we mentioned, you can get the optional third row seating, but it is specifically designed for kids only. So for those of you that get it and put adults back there and say, oh man, this is tight and cramped, it's not what it's meant for. It's meant for kids, for a family of 5, 6, in order to get people around as necessary. And Dad, if you kind of want to jump in and give your thoughts.
Yeah, as you can tell, lots of room. The way they've got the back hatch designed, you've got plenty of height. A lot of the SUVs, you'll notice a lot of the other SUVs have a really, really sharp slope. It does affect the height of what you can actually put back in here. And one of the things you can see, if Walt will step up here and kind of zoom in just a little bit, get a little bit closer here, you'll notice there's speakers back here in the back, because this vehicle has 20 interior speakers for the sound system, and I will tell you what, and a subwoofer. So 20 plus 1, so 21 speakers, and I will tell you, it sounds phenomenal. One other quick thing I want to point out on the back that we didn't do yet, you'll notice the sensors back here. You'll see the 4, so there's 2 here, so 4. Then they've added 1 more on each side, to a total of 6 sensors front and rear. And what that does is it gives you the ability, when you're actually parking, to actually see the side of the vehicle, and there will be audible alerts if you're getting too close to something on the side. And frankly, that works really cool, because some of you that might be, I had a particular vehicle one time, we owned an Excursion, brand new, wife was driving it, we hadn't had it more than a week, was pulling into the gas pumps and just got a little bit too close to the actual ballards that come up next to the gas poles. This vehicle, or the gas pumps I should say, this vehicle would actually alert you that you're too close to one of those, and that would not happen. You would not run into the side of the vehicle would not run into those bollards if that were the case. So just something to point out. It's a really cool feature. So I tell you what, we'll get into the rest of the interior, and our good friend Walt, who's behind the camera, who most of you never see, who's the guy we use as one of the props if you were to see how much room's in the back seat. I think we'll put him in the back seat and let you see how much room is actually in the back seat of this 2016 Land Rover Sport. We'll be right back. All right, I'm behind the camera, and my son Richard and our good friend Walt is actually in the back seat, and you'll see these are 2 big guys in the back seat of the Land Rover Sport. And guys, do you have enough room?
It's pretty good. The only thing I would say here is headroom. If you can kind of zoom in here, Dad, for Walt. Walt's about 6'4". With the sunroof, the shade back, he's kind of touching, but if the shade was open, he would have more than enough room. Obviously, myself, 5'9", 5'10", I've got more than enough room. Again, Walt, 6'4". This is in the easy access, easy entry position.
So the exit mode.
Correct. So it's farther back than what you would normally see for a 5'9", 5'10" driver, whereas this is actually set for you, I believe, and I've got more than enough room, and I feel like Walt would have the same. Walt, would you agree?
Yeah, I don't think it's all that bad. And, you know, part of this, I'm sitting straight up. Most people, you know, slouch back a little bit, and there's plenty of room, especially me with long legs. I'm able to spread them out just a little bit and fit in here just fine, very, very comfortably. So no complaints from me. Headroom, like I said, on the side, a little bit low, a little bit shallow. But again, I think as Richard pointed out, that's mostly from the sunroof extension that sticks down here about 2 inches on.
All right, opinions of how comfortable the back seat actually is as far as comfort of the seat itself. Center console, does it have one? Does it fold down?
It does, actually. It's got a full center console right here. So you've got 2 cup holders right here. You've also got a little storage area back here for some small things, whatever that might be. You do have heated seats and vents back here, which is really nice. You've got a power port down below. We apologize for the lighting, a little bit hard to see, but no, I think that, again, if you were fitting 2 full-size adults back here or 2 full-size kids, whatever it is, more than enough room in my opinion. Very comfortable, and could definitely take this for a long road trip.
Do those seats you're sitting in actually recline?
Yes.
Okay.
They got a little bit.
So they got a little more room that
This
way.
is our reclining.
Okay, so they will recline? Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
How about we jump in the front seat?
Sounds good.
Very good.
All right, fans, one quick thing, actually, as we get to the front seat, wanted to show you a few features of the back seat. Real quick, as Walt's kind of coming in and we actually get to show you the back seat, want to show you that these back seats do have 4 speakers right here, combined with the 4 on the front door, the 2 in the front window, gives you the total of 20, especially with the 2 we mentioned in the back. There is the back seat. I'll step out of the camera for a second, and you can see again what it looks like, that nice white leather material, just absolutely fantastic, incredibly soft, just very, very nice, and a nice plush seat. One other thing, Walt, I will show everyone here before we do get to the front seat. Nice subtleties that you'll find on a Range Rover. This is the Range Rover icon that you have right here, kind of in on the A pillar. I guess this would be the B pillar, between the front row and the back row. Really a nice feature. It also has some nice puddle lamps, they call them, which shows the Range Rover at night on the actual asphalt. So with that being said, I'll actually hop out. We'll go right into this next portion, and Dad, you can talk about the front seat.
Okay, so I'm in the front seat. And again, as Richard and Walt have been talking about, very, very luxurious on the inside. I've got no complaints whatsoever. Seats are comfortable. There's plenty of room to put all of your stuff. Dual climate control. We'll get into some of that in the driving portion. It's aesthetically pleasing. Everything's easy to reach, well within your arm's reach. Steering wheel controls are excellent. It's got a great feel when you're driving it, which again, that we'll get into. You know, I can't say enough. The interior of this particular vehicle, as Richard said earlier, all Range Rover. They've done a fantastic job. It's comfortable, it's quiet. They've done some great things technologically speaking on the interior of the vehicle to make it one of the quietest vehicles out there. Acoustic glass side windows and the front window. They did some great things when they actually built the vehicle engineering wise, computerization and so on, to determine where were the loud spots in the car, how do we minimize that, how do we make the interior very quiet. And one of the things they did, which I think is really cool, they made the interior quiet all on its own without having to use anything audio-wise to cancel out that noise that you would get typically in a vehicle. So they've done a great job with the suspension, all aluminum body, 800 pounds less, lighter I should say, than previous generations. It's a great vehicle. Get out, drive it. I tell you what, let's do this. We'll go take a drive. Before I do that though, I'm gonna have these guys stand back. We're actually gonna show you the different ride heights on the vehicle and how much it actually moves in the suspension. We'll be right back.
All right, fans, before we go for a quick drive, we wanted to show you 2 things. Number one, with this being a diesel, we wanted to show you actually how non-diesel like it is, how quiet it is by firing it up. And number 2, we want to show you what it looks like to actually see the vehicle raise and lower with that capability, what that looks like. So first off, Dad, we're gonna have you fire it up. It is now running. And I can almost guarantee that from where you're standing, you can't even tell that it's a diesel. You can never smell like it's a diesel, none of the sort. Very cool feature. Land Rover, you've done a great job at that. With that, I'm actually gonna step out, and Dad, I'm gonna have you raise the vehicle up. And if you can see, this is the best way of doing it. You can actually see it's already raising. Raises the back, raises the front. Again, this isn't probably a drive height, and now he's going to where if you were gonna go off-road, this is what it's going to look like right here. Again, you can see how much it's raised prior to when we started, and I would encourage you back the video up and see what that looks like. Absolutely fantastic. And maybe, Dad, do you want to bring it down? And that way we can show them what it actually looks like. So now we're going down. Again, raises the entire vehicle, or lowers the entire vehicle, I should say. Really, really cool feature, and something that Range Rover has done an excellent job at. So with that, let's actually hop in the vehicle and take a quick drive. Then we'll give you our opinion of the 2016 Land Rover Range Rover Sport.
All right, folks, now we're going to go for a drive. We'll show you a few other features in the front seat, take a drive, give you our opinion, which I think you kind of already know, of the 2016 Land Rover Sport HSE. As we move into some of the interior features, I'll just go over some of the controls that are here. As you walk up here, and Walt, if you can get a picture of this, we'll show all of your controls for all of your climates, I guess you could, or your off-road capabilities, snow, etc. Those are all right here, right below the gear shifter, which is all electronic. You just move the shifter accordingly and away you work. Dual zone, climate control, and a lot of your other functionality. When you saw me outside a moment ago raising and lowering the vehicle, those are those buttons here. Automatic speed limiter. This does have a start-stop function to it, so the diesel engine actually shuts off at a stoplight or a stop sign and will come right back on again as soon as you release the brake. You can turn that feature off right here. You have an automatic, or what they call, let me get my notes out here, it's actually called an all-terrain progress control. That is here. You can, if you're in a really rough condition, you're off-roading, you're on a dirt road and you want the vehicle to do all of the controls for you, I mean as far as speed and everything, you can actually set that here with the cruise control, set your speed, and it will do everything for you, even coming down a hill, braking, all 9 yards. It's all done here. And you do have the capability of a 2-speed transfer case. There is options for that. There's a single speed transfer case or a dual speed transfer case. In these particular vehicles, you can option it however you want to. So I'm going to go to the reverse camera. So as I put it in reverse, we'll go to the reverse camera and I'll let Richard explain some of the features that are actually there with that.
So reverse camera, you've got, this is the standard mode, so you do have the dynamic grid lines, which you can see right here. We can get really, really close to a curb without actually hitting it. Really nice. Not on this particular vehicle, but an option is the 360-degree camera. But again, you can touch the image, and let's say we were hooking up a trailer, which this will tow about 7,000 pounds. You hit that, you come out and you'll notice it now has where your trailer hitch is going to be, or your trailer ball, and so it'll show you where to back up. We'll back out of that. We'll select these and we'll go back. So we'll put it in drive. A few other things about this infotainment system. We're going to go to the home screen over here. Really nice, very intuitive, very easy to use. One thing that we will point out, doesn't have CarPlay or Android Auto, but it has something very similar, actually made by Range Rover themselves, and it's called the In Control app. So you actually have to have it running on your phone at the same time as you plug this in. We'll actually see if it works. I've got to have it unload, so it's got to be installed and unlocked, and so now it knows it's unlocked and it should be connecting right to the phone, and so you can see what it looks like. So you can install different applications. This is just a kind of a test for us. So you've got a calendar, contacts, music. Not going to jump into it because there's a lot of different things on it, but again, very similar to that of a Android Auto or CarPlay. Last few features I will mention, it does have the ability to actually parallel park you into a spot. That's what's up here, right here. Again, your home screen, you can change some other features such as the cameras. This does have a Wi-Fi hotspot on it. You can look at your 4x4 controls and get your eco data. But that's pretty much all of the infotainment system. Dad, do you have anything to add?
It will also perpendicular park.
There you go.
So it will parallel park and perpendicular park for you based on those sensors I talked about earlier. So with that, let's just take a quick drive. We'll roll the windows up. We've had them down because it's a little bit hot out. So we'll roll the windows up, let the AC do its thing. And I think first thing I'll do is I'm just going to shut up and let you hear how quiet the interior is. Again, very comfortable car to drive, very maneuverable. The steering controls, you know, the older Land Rovers, I will tell you, they felt a little bit lethargic when you would drive them. I'm just being honest. This particular vehicle, 800 pounds lighter. They've redone all of the suspension, the body, everything in it is all new. Not for 2016. The only thing new for 2016 is the diesel engine. But this new version of the Range Rover Sport, it is sporty feeling. It works well. It's got a lot of computerization when it comes to how the vehicle handles around corners, yaw control, all those different things, all built in. The vehicle just works and drives fantastic. It's one of those vehicles where when we give it up at the end of the week, it's one of those vehicles it's hard to turn the keys back over. Is that the right way to say that, Richard?
Absolutely. It's something that we really enjoy driving. We actually kind of have fought for it this week of when we want to drive it. One thing before we get up here, and I'll let you kind of park up here, Dad, the panoramic sunroof, before we had the shade closed, you can see it. One thing I will comment on, it's wider than what you'll typically find in a sunroof, and that is a really nice feature.
Notice the grab handle over here. You know, I'm only about 3 inches or so away from that.
Yep.
So to Richard's point, very, very wide roof.
Exactly. It's a really great feature. We were actually here in Colorado. It was our first summer night, I would say. Last night, beautiful out, about 70 degrees, right about 8, 9 o'clock. Going home, listening to music, windows down, absolutely beautiful. And you've actually heard my opinion, again, of the 2016 Range Rover Sport. Dad, what do you think of this car?
It's a great car. Something I would own, I would drive. I know it's expensive, this vehicle. Just so you know, the vehicle that we're actually driving right now that we're sitting in, $84,260. I know that sounds high, but man, if you're somebody that spends a lot of time on the road, those of you that travel a lot, this is a fantastic vehicle. It's comfortable, 600 plus mile range in the car, 29 miles to the gallon. You know what? You can't beat that. It's efficient, it works great. I've loved it. To me, it's a home run. Go check it out at your local Land Rover, Range Rover dealer. Tell them John and Richard Rush from Drive Radio sent you.